Shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss the one that body, grab your favorite pole. Me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll, brought to you by Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and...
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to Shake, Rattle, and Troll today. Man, I'll tell you what, it's a hot one, 91 degrees at 5 a.m. this morning. And you're out running up and down South Mountain.
Somebody's got to do it.
Have you thought about going to therapy, John?
Often.
Captain Davis Barza, United States Coast Guard, is with us. Captain?
Good morning, sir.
Shalom.
Glad to be here.
Is that a naval term, shalom?
I don't think so.
It is in your language.
Yeah, whatever.
It would be like, good morning, mate.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So what are you up to today?
About 302, 511.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover. Talked to Captain Bill aboard the Malahini yesterday. They actually let him drive the boat, which is cool since it's his boat. We're going to be talking to him about 7:15. Also, Rick at H&M Landing. We're getting prepared to go over there and float around. I think we're slated to run the 120 to 150 mile.
Are you?
Range. Yep.
You have my cooler.
Got it. Just throw it in the back of the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a meat hunt.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll be.
And you remember the friends that you left behind while you go do this.
You know, you had an invitation.
I understand.
You know,
thank you.
You did.
No problem.
Yep. We're going to put him on the choke and puke special. And
sure.
Yeah, giddy up.
Yeah.
Mr. Nautical.
In charge of chum.
Yeah. That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be talking to Rick over at the tackle shop at H&M about 8:15, and then James Guggenauer at 8:30. And about 7:56, we're going to do roll call. Unfortunately, we have one fallen soldier for last week, so we'll talk about that. A couple things we're doing in the near future. We've been exposing some of the truths relative to wildlife conservation with the Fish and Wildlife Service. We're going to step that up a notch relative to how the gizzard shad got in Roosevelt. I think he'll be as surprised as I was to learn that. John's been doing some due diligence on Sandy Bar and the deception of this coming out of that camp, the anatomy of deception. You've done a good job on that, JK. We've talked to J.D. King. Crying Wolf exposes it a little bit more. Quasi-expose on the green movement. We're going to step that up a notch. And then in the next week or two, we're going to do a little thing on chemtrail. I've been, we've heard about chemtrails, and,
the X pattern in the sky.
Yeah, somebody's up to something, and as bad as we poke fun at Kingman and Don Martin and the residents of Kingman.
What, just because it happens to be the double-wide capital of the world?
Exactly.
Okay.
I listened to a public forum meeting on chemtrails, and I thought it was kind of a spoof, and the more I listened, I'm going, holy crap, I've seen some of this, and I think we need to get that out there. Something's going on. We've known for a long time, or at least I have, listening to some of the government controls and on weather. And I don't know if we are here a product of geoengineering or not.
Very, very, very good question.
It is. We're going to bring in an expert to answer that question. They claim we are. And I'm just going to see how deep this is. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff you guys need to know out there, and I'm going to leave it go at this. It's time in America that we speak up. You know, everybody's got stuff to do, and it's hard to get off your butt, get off the couch, and go to a meeting. Last Thursday, we had an open sportsman's forum at the Arizona Game and Fish Department. There were 4 of the private sector in attendance. 4. And I'm not getting it. We sit here and we spend our money to grow wildlife, protect the environment. We get 4 people at a meeting. I think last time you were there, how many?
Oh, there were 8 the last time.
Yeah, 8. It's the same thing. The anglers...
You're the angler that shows up.
Well, these guys bitch, moan, and complain about everything, literally. And the anglers roundtable that are held out in Mesa, now, albeit I get it, Mesa's, probably an 80-mile round trip from, the west side of town where I happen to reside.
Hey, do you want to know how far it is for me to go to the Carefree Ivory Towers from Gilbert?
That's got to be 100 miles.
It's 120 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just shy of 80 for me and Chandler to go to Game and Fish.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pull. But my point is, you need to go to the meetings. You need to get involved. John, we just had the Sportsman's Act shot down, and I'm going to blame Harry Reid if I'm out of line. Too bad. I don't like Harry Reid. He needs to retire.
I wish he would.
He's doing more damage. We're just now seeing some positive action out of McCain. Either that or some really good lip service.
Based on performance of Senator McCain in the past, I would say it's both. A lot of good lip service, and maybe it'll work if it's to his benefit.
Well, when he retires from being a
professional politician.
Yeah, we'll get him down at the dealership selling trucks.
That would work.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
He'll do okay there.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
By the way, I don't know who to blame on Senator Reid. I know Senator Reid filled the amendment tree, which is a procedure they use, but I don't know who to blame. And there's more issues in this. But certainly, they can't agree on anything in Washington. They tack on amendments to bills that they shouldn't touch.
So. Well, I think there was some gun legislation tacked onto that he objected to, and I don't know that I'm disagreeing with that necessarily.
It doesn't matter. We have, if you look at the country, I mean, we're almost split 50-50 in ideology now, and therefore we're in gridlock about doing nothing. Nothing's really happening.
Well, I was talking to Vern Bagley, CEO of the Military Families Foundation. Vern's going to join us next week, and I've known Vern for a number of years, and he's been hacking on literally the VA. Vern is a poster soldier from the Vietnam era. With PTSD, case of that, case of Agent Orange, case of degenerative heart failure because of the Agent Orange trickle-down effect. And besides that, he was a first lieutenant, and he's pretty short. So, having to overcome those 2 issues.
The short and being a first lieutenant were the major obstacles.
Yeah, in his case in Vietnam, he said, it was absolutely a benefit because he could hit the ground faster than somebody taller than him.
Sounds like Audie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And a bunch of bubbas.
But Vern's been a product of having to get in and out of the VA, and, I've been with him on a number of occasions where they say, the guy's having a heart attack. They say, yeah, we'll get you in about 30 days. He goes, you're not getting it, I'm dying. And, took it upon himself to go out to Scottsdale and get treated, and, the ongoing battle with VA to get stuff paid outside their campus, and, we're having issues with transporting veterans that we recently had a case, 87-year-old World War II veteran needing to go to chemotherapy, and VA outsourcing him and no way to get him there. I mean, the guy's almost blind. He's 87 years old, lives by himself, shouldn't be driving, can't drive to begin with, and nobody take him to the doctor. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
There's 6 vans sitting down there at VA because they don't have the budget to put drivers in them to go get these guys. So
absurd.
However, bonuses were available for a long period of time.
Well, trust me, Tuesday morning we're going to be down there knocking on the door going, hey, let's make a deal on one of these vans. So the foundation's got drivers, and we just recently appointed former Master Sergeant Chris Dempsey on the board.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and stepping that up quite a bit. So anyway, it's my how does this tie into fishing? It's really simple. VA sucks. The Fish and Wildlife Service sucks. They're not doing their job. They're being influenced by outside influences that need to mind their own business, like the Sierra Club and CBD and
Defenders of Wildlife.
Yeah, the list is long. And as you noticed, the guys running the VA have breached their fiduciary responsibility and are responsible for killing soldiers. And I think the mood in talking to a lot of the people down there and having to do with the VA, they're just letting the World War II guys, the Vietnam guys, go away. They're almost done, and they're not going to have to deal with them again.
I've got a good friend that's a Vietnam veteran, and he has to fight every day to stay alive. And when he makes an appointment with the VA, he's up in Washington State, but I've taken him to the hospital quite a few times, and we'll get there 6-7 hours early. It's like, why are we here so early? He goes, you have to be here this early to check in, or you don't get to see your doctor.
Vern's point is kind of a call to arms. We've got to get the public motivated. And doing this for 14 years, I see spikes, and right now we're at a low. We can't take care of our military guys. We can't take care of the fish. We're getting wolves shoved down our throat. And having said that, we are going to thank some of our very, very special sponsors. I'm here with
JK
and
Captain Dave.
I'm going to get off my box, and when we come back, we're going saltwater fishing.
Get the meds, boys. Get the meds.
Nope, we're not backing down. We're going to stand our ground and fight and turn up the gas. Hey, we're going fishing with Captain Bill aboard the really cool sport vessel Malahini. Captain Bill, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. Some of your intro music is just awesome.
Oh, I appreciate that. We're
got Johnny Cash.
We've done Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some good stuff. Sometimes it's appropriate, and other times it's socially unacceptable. But then again, we don't care.
Like most of us.
So, the problem we're having here, Captain Bill, and since you brought it up, we need to get you some intro music. What would you prefer?
Don't say Gilligan's Island.
No.
I was going to go there, too.
Don't do that with this group.
I have none. I really have none. You know what? How about some Zach Brown?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're there.
Yeah, I'm good with
That'll
that.
work.
The Love Boat won't work?
No.
You're funny.
that has to be Captain Dave from the Coast Guard, so,
Hey, Captain Dave, how you doing?
Consider
I'm doing
the
fine.
source.
How you doing, sir?
just do the math.
Yeah.
All right, so, I'm sitting here looking at your boat count. Talked to you yesterday. They actually let you drive the boat, which is a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, boy. How'd you do yesterday? The fish count looks pretty solid.
There's been a variety, honestly, a variety of fish to catch here in the past, I'm going to say almost month. We have our days when we get more barracuda than we get yellowtail, we get more bass than we get yellowtail and barracuda. You know what I mean? But it's right now, I'd say it's family fun fishing. Because you have an option to the area we're fishing now. You have an option to fish the bottom, fish the surface. So it's cool. It is really, really cool.
So basically, you actually can go out and fish whatever strength you think you have.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yep. That's good days on the water.
We had 51 anglers yesterday, and we were what we call straight rent rods. My initial plan was to run offshore to take a look at the yellowfin and the bluefin, and that fishing for 3/4 day has been phenomenal. Wahini, go lay down. Go lay down. I'm sorry, that's my dog.
I was hoping it wasn't your kid.
Oh yeah.
No, that's my dog. And fishing's been good. for the most part offshore, 3/4 day boat. We had 2 boats go outside yesterday, take a look around, and one boat connected, one boat didn't. So the one boat that did not connect came back into the islands. And that's a good option for us to have as well. And I looked at my anglers yesterday and saw that maybe offshore is not a good idea for us. That's a decision that we make on a daily basis. If we feel we have anglers that can go out there and deal with the monotonous driving around, because it's 12 hours of boredom followed by 25 to 30 minutes of total chaos. Chaos in a good sense, okay?
Yeah, that's tuna fishing.
And I saw the anglers we had yesterday and decided, maybe let's go to the island. And it really worked out for us, We went through probably, I'm going to say 90 fish to get our 39 yellowtail.
Wow.
And that's because solid red rodders, that's a good thing. The guys got off the boat yesterday. Excuse me, the ladies and gentlemen got off the boat yesterday, and they were happy. To me, that's a successful day.
Well, earlier last week we saw I'm going to call it a swarm of anchovies off the Scripps Institute pier. Do you now have anchovies at the bait receiver?
We actually have sardines. That's actually what we've been screaming for about the past month. With the yellowtail, that this time of year we changed our focus from bottom fishing to the surface. For the yellowtail, the barracuda. Oh, and we finally find we haven't seen bonita in probably, I want to say 4 or 5 years. We were actually catching bonita this time this year. And that's okay. I can deal with this. But as far as the anchovies go, we had straight anchovy for like 2 months, and we were screaming for sardine. Well, guess what? The sand bass are starting to show up now. Now we're screaming for anchovy, and they can't find it.
Wow, they're seriously. Yahoo News had up a video that actually looked like an oil slick.
It was all those. It
was all over the news.
It was millions of
I saw that off of a Scripps pier there in La Jolla. I was like, they can't find bait?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, and I think John and Captain Dave probably keyed in it, you're seeing all these schooling anchovies and people out there snorkeling around, and the sharks feeding on the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
free
just
lunch.
Like, really, you're out there.
The only sharks that they saw in that school of anchovy were leopard sharks. And leopard sharks, you swim with them all the time. They don't really bite humans.
No. That's rule number 3. It has no eyelashes. We're not swimming with it.
Absolutely.
Oh, come on now.
No.
Hey, now, Shark Week's coming up. Watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Sharknado.
Be kind to sharks.
Sharknado 2. Here we go.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Kind of funny.
Well, let's put this into perspective. What does a guy need to bring in his personal gear bag fishing on the Malahini?
This time of year, we're catching what we call nice size yellowtail, 8 to 12 pounds. The average in the 3/4 day world. That's the perfect size for our anglers. They get to pull on something that's going to pull back, but it's not going to pull them into the water. If they're not careful, or they're not going to lose their rod if they're not careful.
But they'll make you squeal, John.
No, not 8-pounders. They're going to make me squeal.
15-pound yellowtail, as physically fit as you are, will kick your butt.
You want to bet me, John?
I don't think so.
That's like fishing. That's like fishing a calico bass on light line, if you will.
Uh-oh. No, never mind.
It's good. It's a good thing.
I mean, it's fun, and to see the kids that hook into a yellowtail and see them light up. I had a lady.
You guys both sound alike. You and Don. You both sound alike when you do that. You guys have been practicing on this. Don't average it.
I think they've bonded.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
I'd say the perfect setup for the type of fishing we're doing now, the 6-foot rod. 25 to, I'd say 20 to 40 pounds, test line on Saltus XX70. I know I'm throwing numbers out that probably doesn't make any sense.
Sure. Yeah, they do.
Or a Saltus 30. And, I mean, it's fun fishing. It's an all-around rod and reel combination where you can fish, at the bottom if things are slow on the surface. You can fish sand bass with it with no problem. You can fish the yellowtail with it with no problem. You can fish the barracuda with it with no problem. You can fish the bonito with it with no problem. And, you're fishing the surface, you're tying on an 8 sinker, a 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce with a number 2 hook. Pretty simple. Game over.
Pretty simple.
And go out there and want to kill some fish. Let's get it on.
And, John, you can put your bobber on if you wish.
Don't go there. Don't do that. Don't. Oh,
John.
Yeah.
John.
Yes, sir.
No bobber fishing allowed on my boat.
I didn't think
He uses
so.
a jack-in-the-box ball.
Yep.
Hey, it's all good.
He's seen me trout fishing in the past.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get an email from our webmaster, Doug Stricker, and he's up on the Provo River, someplace up in Utah. Yeah, and he's using a pale morning dun. And he catches it's on the website, just a gorgeous 14-inch brown trout. Yum.
Wow.
Yeah.
If any of your anglers are really interested into what we do, we have a business Facebook page and we also have a website. I'd say go to the business Facebook page because we post there every single day about what we've done, and they can see pictures of the fish we're catching and everything else. And that would be Malahini Sport Fishing. Period.
All right, cool.
MALI.
I'll tell you what, Captain Bill, we'll get that up on our website, linking to you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Done deal, Don. It was a pleasure talking with you guys. You guys
Amen,
have a great day.
Yeah, fair winds following seas.
Roger
Yes,
that.
sir.
Okay, we're going to thank some of our sponsors and check out the Malahini. We'll be right back.
Not a worry in the world, a cold beer in my hand, life is good.
Man, that sounds like Coast Guard music.
No.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, back to you, Captain. What's happening out on our local waterways? Everybody behaving?
No.
You think?
I know that I heard a rumor, and I wasn't there, so there was over 300 people went through the North Mesa Justice Court this week.
Nice.
So that would be...
4th of July was busy.
That would
town,
be 300 on their way to boating safety class.
Yes, we had a full class yesterday, and it's a shame that the average person doesn't understand even the basics of anything out there on the water. It's terrible.
My question to you is today, the same as it has been 4 years ago. Is it time for a how to drive your boat license?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's not up to you, me, or anybody else. It's up to the legislature and
No. Here's the problem, and I'm not getting after you, but thanks for saying that. That right there is the problem. It is up to us. They work for us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's up to us
how do we
convince them.
Let's get the ball rolling. How do we get their attention?
I don't.
We need to
know.
fire 2 or 3 of them?
They don't understand the repercussions of somebody doing something wrong out there. They really don't.
I would suggest the same for them as I do the people at the Center for Biological Diversity. They want grizzly bears? Cool. I want to give them a backpack, a little pup tent, some bacon. Okay.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Yeah.
And send them to Yellowstone.
Right. Have a nice
for
weekend.
a week in a camp out.
Sure.
Fire starter, a little axe.
Naked and afraid.
Yes. Same thing.
In bear country.
We'll get the legislators and...
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Realistically, the expansion of boat activity in Arizona has, quadrupled over the past 20 years. A lot of people get this great idea. Hey, let's get a boat.
Let's get a boat.
Family, go out and have some fun.
Sure.
So they buy the boat.
Sure.
And they have no clue what boating safety is about, other than I'm sure they have safety vests. Maybe they're approved, maybe they're not. But they don't know they don't know the rules of the water. Like you and I know the rules of the road. I don't know the rules of the water that well. I certainly wouldn't want to, if I were to buy a boat today, God forbid, I would wind up taking a course first before I ever set foot or wings in the water.
Some people do. Every once in a while, we get somebody in our class that my wife June and I teach, and it's like, why are you here? Well, I've got a boat on order, and I thought I should have a class first.
Nice.
Thank you for coming to class.
Give
Everybody
him
else,
give him a gold star.
exactly. But it's few and far between. Most of the people don't know a thing about it. What's going on out there?
I'm going to have to take a shot at the dealers. We transfer a lot of private sales. But when you buy a boat, I don't care how many years of experience, you need a wet delivery.
Yeah,
on that vessel.
most of them do.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of them don't.
Well, that's probably true. Also,
We used to. I mean,
Now-
that was my job with Tempe Marine and Mart Marine.
here's
for
a
while.
free plug for Sea Ray Marine Max in Tempe, but they have a dedicated classroom right there for us that we can use any time of the week, day or night for our classes. I do Coast Guard training in those classes.
When's the next one in the next 3 weeks?
The next class coming up, I believe, is August 9th.
Nice.
Yeah, whatever that Saturday is, second Saturday of the month.
Want to go?
It's a Coast Guard class, basic boating class.
How long's the class?
It's an all-day Saturday class.
You get a whistle.
You get a whistle, and you get
And a hot dog, right?
and a floaty keychain.
No hot dog. I'll buy you a hot dog. Speaking of hot dogs, there is a guy. No, serious. I mean, here, America is dumbing down. We used to be able to go to the Home Depot on the weekend,
and get a hot dog.
get your stuff, get a hot dog.
Right.
Yeah.
And for Home Depots across the Metroplex, there is only one at 67th Avenue and Bell Road. Henry has been there for 26 years. As an angler, I have eaten a lot of hot dogs. It's a plug. Henry has the most dialed-in hot dog stand I've ever seen. He's got a drive-through. It's
Really?
shaded. He's got 2 concrete tables. It's not just having a beverage. You get to have soda drinks in a bottle. Cream cherry, cream soda, black cherry,
Nice.
this and that we had like when we were kids. And he asked me, what do you like? You want a small, medium, large? You want spicy? You want a broad? You want not so spicy? You want a plain? Man. My point is, go see Henry. Oh, man.
Well, that's another advantage of our boating class, because when we take our lunch break across the street, another free plug, Ted's world-renowned
there we
hot
go.
dogs.
Okay.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's the killer
Wait a
right
minute,
there.
that's right there at
McClintock and Broadway. Right.
Yeah.
So you go in there, you stand in line, and the guy cooking back there is part of the family. He yells out at you, your order, please. What do you want? You want a brat, you want a regular dog, a jumbo dog. It's the old style way of doing things.
Yeah. Ever seen him get kind of irritated?
Oh,
What,
yeah.
You think
hey,
I'm
you.
funny?
Hey, you. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
What do you want to eat?
Yeah, I love it.
I remember that spot. My kids used to go there with me because when I first moved into Arizona, I was half a mile south of that on Alder and McClintock. That's where I lived.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think all three of us ought to go to that. I'm due again because I forget.
You forget easy.
I do.
We're going to prove that.
Uh-oh. You got questions?
I'll take the test right now. I think I could probably pass the test.
Okay, do it. Do it.
Not now.
Why?
Why?
Well, because we have things to talk about.
Well, this will just take a minute.
No, let's move on. I want to talk about
Bail.
You're backing out.
No, I'm not. Navigational markers up on Saguaro.
Oh, yeah. I found out last week that nobody is maintaining them. It used to be done by Game and
Nobody.
Fish.
All right, we're going to get off thing, and we're not going to name names, but it rhymes with Tonto National Forest.
Yes.
Neil Bosworth, exactly.
So one of our members of our local Coast Guard Auxiliary unit, our flotilla, said, why don't we look into taking care of them at our lake? It's our lake. We're here helping save lives and helping people. There isn't that many of these. We should be able to take care of them and make sure that they're on station. That's a really good idea.
What's the malfunction?
The malfunction is probably funding and then personnel to make sure that they're there. It's not that big of a deal to me. I know we're going to bring it up at our next meeting, our auxiliary meeting. Why don't we look into taking care of them? If you can supply us with the new Atons that we need, the buoys, we'll make sure they get replaced and they're maintained. Because the Forest Service isn't doing it, Game and Fish isn't doing it, nobody's doing it.
When did they quit doing that?
I don't know. It's kind of like you do it, no, you do it, no, you do it, no, I'm going to do it, no, I don't want to do it.
That's the problem that, quite frankly, we're having across the board. I'm having ongoing discussions with fisheries.
Yeah.
Jim DeVos, big game branch chief on government overreach and lack of fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility. And Tonto National Forest, in my assessment, is one of the biggest infractors of that whole program.
Yeah.
They want to be king, but they don't have the manpower to.
They can't walk the walk.
Yeah, they can't enforce the lake. They've empowered Gila County with supreme authority, which they don't have, and we've already proved that in court. We have Salt River Project telling the Game and Fish Department what kind of fishes we are going to or not going to stock in the lake, which is way over their pay grade.
Right.
We now have to do a NEPA because we want to put 1,500-pound reef balls in the bottom of the lake, and there's some opinions out there from the anglers that they don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, those are going to be a navigational hazard if the water goes down. I said, yes. Yeah, so are the boulders that are sitting, 20
right
meters off to the left.
Exactly.
And I, I'm really getting agitated at some of these guys, and if they think through the gosh darn process, if we put a reef ball in, we're going to have to put a rope and a buoy on it. Does that mean we have to go and buoyize all the rocks that are out there that are going to be popping up when the water drops another 10 feet? I don't get it.
I don't think Lake Pleasant, they don't move their buoys when the water level goes up and down, do
Yeah, they do, and that's Maricopa County Parks.
But that's a little different entity.
And they don't do a good job. I've personally had my nitro, had the keel replaced and the transom redone and the lower unit replaced on the Mercury because they didn't move one right out in the middle of the friggin' lake. It was clear.
Yeah. And, it's bad enough on the water with everything that's going on. So another one not having an aid to navigation to tell you that there's a rock there or don't go this way or that way, that's insult to injury, I think.
How do we fix it?
Well, I would have to say you start with Tonto and see who's in charge of that program with them.
It's Neil Bosworth.
See who's in charge of it with Game and Fish, and let's get some together talking and
say,
that's
called dialogue.
We can do this.
Yeah.
We can help. We'll volunteer our time and our boats.
What day can you meet me at the department?
Anytime you need.
You want to go Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning would be bad, but we'll talk about it.
We're going to talk about it during the break, and when we come back, we will take a vote, have a decision, let you know when we're going to be there. Anybody else want to go? Call me. Yeah, down in Alabama. Don't go there. All righty, Captain Dave.
Yes, sir.
Seriously, how do we get this movement some traction? We've got issues out there. You're giving me a quiz on rules of the road. That's one of the biggest things. One of my big pet peeves is traffic pattern, which isn't really taught. It's ignored, and most of the time it's not an issue unless you've waited 10 minutes too long to go to weigh in, and then you're up on the wheel, pushing on the gas, usually going the wrong way.
Correct.
And other people are going the wrong way, and
just like driving down the freeway the wrong way.
Yeah, probability of having a collision with 180-mile closure. Bam.
It's kind of like we're coming across Saguaro Lake about 6:30 last Saturday night. And we come out of the back channel, and here's two people swimming about 400 yards off the beach. And one of my crew members goes, "Look out, there's two ducks." And I swerved and slowed down, and I looked over for a second time, and I said, "That's not a duck, that's a person." Because all you can see is your head in the water. And guy had a brown hat on, too. No life jacket, no nothing. I pulled up, and I said, "What are you doing?" "Swimming." Well, that's kind of obvious. I hope so, or otherwise you're
You're underground. Man.
You know, you're right out here in a lane where you have navigational traffic doing 50, 60 miles an hour, or the guy on the jet boat doing 95. Well, you know, and it's like, okay, get on board the boat and we'll take you back to shore. Why? Because you're a hazard to navigation and somebody's going to pop your head with a boat.
That's God's way of getting rid of stupid people.
It is.
I'm
And
sorry.
then the guy gets arrogant.
Serious?
Oh, I don't want to give you my name. I don't have to tell you my name.
Really?
Yeah. Just drop me off right here. It's okay.
Yeah, zip time, put him back in the water.
Exactly. See how you like this one.
You don't float well when you're.
But you see that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's Friday night. It was 10 o'clock. I'm on the lake at night. And there's a guy pulling 2 tubes with no lights on.
That happens all the time.
I pull him up. It's like, what's up? And he goes, well, my lights aren't working. It's like, okay,
Really?
then you think you should have been on shore by
Trailer
now?
the boat.
And I said, get your people off the tubes and get them on board the boat. I said, you know, this could be construed as reckless operation.
Absolutely.
You know, the reckless operation, if you read it in the law book, is a $1,500 fine and up to a year in prison.
Where is enforcement while you're seeing all of this?
They're there. They're just busy. They'll stop you, and then these 2 guys go off and do something. They'll stop you, and then those 2 guys go off and do something. There's not enough people out there. They're busy. Our deputies that we work with are great. Absolutely great. They're good friends. They're good people. They're good deputies at Swarrell. But they have multiple duties. So there's times that they run out of the office and say, okay, Dave, okay, June, you guys got it. We're out of here. We have a car wreck up on the hill. Or we have a drowning at the river. We have to go take care of that. So they're doing, you know, multiple tasks all over the place.
So why don't they empower you to write citations?
That would have to be a
legislative aspect.
Congress.
It would have to be
just
Congress. It would be.
That's right, Fed.
Yeah, because we are Congress. But the other thing is, even if there's a Coast Guard person there that was a federal law enforcement officer, it's state waters.
And
then the federal people don't intervene.
We are in the era of overreach.
Of course. But
that's when overreach would be acceptable.
Yeah,
in my
it's
mind.
a state waterway, so that's covered by Game and Fish and the Sheriff's Department. Or Tonto can write tickets, but the Coast Guard cannot.
Really?
Yeah. You know, so we don't call them tickets anymore. We call them coupons.
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 Coupons, like Ron White.
you got a coupon to go see the judge.
Yeah. Last week we were kidding. Game and Fish, they rolled up their stuff and they're leaving, and it's like, you guys are already out of here? And it's like, yeah, we ran out of coupons.
Nice.
Oh, look, that guy got a fishing coupon. Oh, look at that guy. He got a no-wake coupon.
Yeah.
But it's just,
God, you got to love Bill Clinton.
No common sense,
good movement.
no education, and they just think they can do whatever they want to do on the water. And it ends up being the wrong way, just like the poor fellow that passed away on Saturday.
What happened?
Across from Sandy Beach. He was diving off of the dive rock, which is not that high. I'd say maybe 15 to 20 feet. But when he did a handstand and then flipped into the water. And when he flipped into the water, he landed flat on his back, dead.
Snap.
Yeah, they think he blew the aorta out of his heart. He hit so hard. He's a big guy.
Okay, that's part of it.
But still, I mean, we saw a guy years ago that was just water skiing, doing nothing wrong. And when he fell on the very crest of the wave. And he ruptured his spleen. Good thing everybody was right there to get him to the hospital, or he would have died.
Well, you can do stuff right and still have stuff happen.
Sure, it's Murphy's Law.
I was amazed at an article in the paper. Some woman was plucked out of Lake Mead in 8-foot swells with no life jacket on, been treading water for 3 hours, got separated from the family in the jet ski during a storm.
Sure.
Wow.
Why are you on the lake in the storm with a jet ski?
You have to ask the question.
Yeah.
I swear the low end of the gene pool.
And
that's just common sense.
The cool part about it is, there's not enough enforcement guys out there, and they've got their hands full.
They do.
And I get that. Stupidity on the water is usually fatal, and it should have one hell of a price tag.
Yeah, even if it's not fatal, it's damaging.
Yeah.
Or near to that point.
Yeah.
People riding on the bow. What happens when you slide off the bow?
I've been ticketed for riding on the bow.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the 60s, it's a fun thing to do.
Sure it is.
And, you know,
But
had a
we-
handrail, had your legs stuck between the handrail.
But I can tell you time after time all the stories of people that we've heard where, you know, oh, hey, Dad, can I ride on the bow? Yeah, sure. 10, 12-year-old kid. The next thing you know, he's gone and under the boat, and there's you just feel
He's in the prop.
blump, blump. And then there's your son with decapitated or missing an arm or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, boating accidents are horrible accidents because of the prop, the boat hitting you in the head or whatever. And they just happen time and time again. There's just too many people dying that way.
How big of an issue is Lake Pleasant sharing the lake with? I'm going to include bass boats and high performance platforms. They are.
It gets rough out there.
You know, you get a 1,400 pound boat with 250 horses on it. You know, throwing a 265 at the prop.
Exactly.
And you know,
65 miles an hour across the lake.
Yeah, and then
there's
you
somebody
got
in
the
it.
big boats with twin blown motors in them, and capable of 120 plus.
Yeah, speed limits would be nice, but we don't have any.
You just crossed the line there.
Oh, I know. The only speed limit we have is, of course, a no wake zone. Most people don't even understand that. They'll blow right through it all the time. You sit there and just watch them do it.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody got cited for that one.
Well, I did. I explained myself to Judge Anderson, and he complimented me on my defense
techniques.
And
no, he said it was one of the best
Yeah,
defenses
he
he'd
did.
ever heard.
And he's still guilty.
yeah, and I spent 8 hours at the boating safety class, which was the mandatory one. And then after that, not too long, about 3 years ago, I took another one up at the department, voluntary. And I'm amazed at how much you forget. First of all, start talking about rivers. Well, we historically don't run a lot of rivers. There's different rules on the river than there is on the lake.
That's
different
right.
Conditions, this and that and the other thing. And then there's new rules. New technology comes up. On the land, we're talking about new technology, drones. Yeah. So every once in a while, we have new technology on the water that.
In fact, the sheriff, we were just talking about drones last weekend. He says, wouldn't it be nice if I could get a grant to get a drone? And I toss it out the back door of the office here, and it flies over the entire lake, up the south end of the river, comes back, and I'm sitting there getting a report, and it's like, oh, there's that orange and green boat. He's doing something wrong. Now I can get in my boat and go check it out.
I like it.
Because you can't be everywhere all the time. Not when you've only got one or two boats patrolling the entire area. And that's been that way for years, everywhere. A lack of law enforcement because
of funding. Are you ready
to
talk about the Sportsman's Act when we come back from roll call?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You've got that look on your face.
Determined.
Alrighty, very uncomfortable. Roll call for July 13th. We had a soldier, Marine Sergeant Thomas Z. Spitzer, died June 25th, 2014, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom, 23 years old, of New Braunfels, Texas, assigned to the 1st Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force, out of 29 Palms, California. He died on the 25th while conducting combat operations in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. And as always, our thoughts out to the Marine Sergeant, his family, his unit, and those he served with, and give it some thought. It's a hell of a price to pay for your freedom today. We'll be back.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll, brought to you by Bill Lute Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Freshwater, saltwater, watch out, boy. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
Now, here's your host, host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
All right, we're back. Hey, thanks for listening to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We're going to introduce you to a guy that's going to be doing a new regular segment for us. Jerry Corcoran has been exiled to Texas. Member of the Castaway Bass Club, was on the water last night in an Ironman tournament from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. That's a long time on the water. But, Jerry, hey, thanks for joining us, man. How did you do last night?
Actually, I ended up winning last night, Don.
Well, yeah, congratulations. That's a good thing. That's a lot better than coming on the radio and saying, how come you sucked? It just...
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I ended up, I had a limit and I culled once and I weighed 11.44 pounds. So I had a big fish of 3.92.
Excellent. Where did you guys fish last night?
We fished on Eagle Mountain Lake, which is just about 15 or 20 miles north of Fort Worth.
Okay, all right. Is that, are you residing in the Fort Worth area?
Yeah, I live in Irving. Yeah, I live in Irving. It's about a 45-minute drive.
Yeah. Well, how many contestants did you have?
We had 19 anglers fishing out of 11 different boats. So, not a real big turnout, but not a lot of people like the 12 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time. How's your weather back there temperature-wise?
Oh, it was beautiful last night. It was upper 70s, low 80s with just a light enough breeze to keep the bugs off of you. So it worked out pretty good. No rain, no wind, just a really good night. Had a full moon, which really helped the fishing out a lot.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, you gotta love the full moon on a night tournament.
What were the guys catching fish with? What kind of technique were you throwing?
I caught all of my fish. I was throwing a drop shot on steep rocky banks in about 12 foot of water, throwing a black and blue Grande Bass Indigo worm.
Yeah, buddy.
And most of the fish caught last night by the contestants were pretty much all on drop shot. Like I say, fishing steep rocks or fishing docks that have lights on them.
Really?
So, yeah, because the lighted docks, lighted docks bring in bugs, bugs bring in small fish, and small fish bring in bass.
Bingo.
So, yep, that's how it works.
Has something to do with the food chain.
Yeah. And luckily, we're still at the top of it.
Well, I don't know, man.
For now.
For now. They're trying to put wolves here and grizzly bears and kind of redefining the food chain. But how many guys do you have in your Castaway Bass Club?
We have, I think, 35 paid members this year, and then we have probably about 20 that regularly make every tournament. But we'll have tournaments where we'll have upwards of 25 to 30 people.
All right, is Castaway affiliated with BASS or FLW?
No, we are not.
Pirate Bass Clubs, you gotta love them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're kind of small for the Fort Worth, Dallas area as far as that goes, but we're we like to keep it small, and a lot of family, a lot of father and son, some father and daughter, husband and wife fishing with us. So, and the BASS, there's a lot of reporting and rules that you have to work with, so we just kind of do our own thing.
I understand that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but on the other hand, there are some benefits belonging to BASS,
right.
Certainly.
Right.
Well, that's good stuff. I want to welcome you on Shake, Rattle, and Troll, and look forward to having regular reports from the Castaway Bass Club and stuff in Texas. We've got a lot of good friends in Texas, and a lot of outstanding fishing in Texas, and
that's for sure.
My kudos to Texas DNR. They've done a hell of a job raising big fish for your Texas lakes. Yeah,
that's the one thing that the Texas Parks and Wildlife, they have the Share Lunker program.
Yes, sir.
Which that's an outstanding program. Since its inception in 1998 or 88, they've had 557 fish over 13 pounds turned into it.
Wow.
So yeah, and more than almost half of those came out of Lake Fork. So
that's an awesome lake.
Yeah, it is. And then for any of the people that think, catch and release doesn't work, they have had at least 5 share lunkers that I know of that have been turned in twice.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then, bass can spawn more than one time a year. They actually, last year, they had 143,000 fry from one bass.
Wow.
Yeah, that share lunker program's a really good thing.
In your opinion, how many spawns do you have back there in Texas annually?
Usually it's just one hard one in the spring, and then they do get a fall spawn sometimes, depending on what the water temperature does. If the water temperature cools down real fast in the fall, then you can get another spawn. But normally it's just the one good spawn. Usually your first good full moon in April is the best time for the spawn fish here.
Yeah, I get it. I have a personal problem spawning when it's real cold. When it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? You get it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Talking about his shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is ugly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, what's Brother Scott doing? Rumor has it he's out coon hunting again.
Yeah, I believe he went on a coon hunt this weekend. I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but he was.
You know what? He is up at the Arizona Game and Fish Department hog camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So,
Well, who's one final question? Who's your pick for NASCAR today?
Well, my pick's always Jamie McMurray. So, but of
I don't
course
have a problem with that.
But of course, it's always anybody but Jeff Gordon too.
Oh, bad answer.
Well,
bad
answer. As anal as Big Mike is, we're shopping around. He's got a birthday coming up on I think it's the 26th of July. We're looking for some Danica Patrick pajamas for him.
Oh.
Yeah, he needs some of those because Jeff Gordon can't even beat Danica Patrick anymore most of the time.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Oh, that's so wrong. Who's the points leader? Come on.
He's back there swapping paint with her. Can't stay out of the wall.
We should have an SRT sponsored car.
We do. It's called street racing technology.
Yeah, you can get your pickup out there and go for it.
I would. I'd
tear it up.
Big Sexy would do awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go 5 wide to get around Big Sexy.
Those trucks do.
We could do a heavy truck race. Ooh.
I'm in. Yeah.
Turbos are
All
cranking.
right, Jerry, I know you need a nap after 12 hours on the water. God love you. Hey, man, we'll be talking to you every week moving forward. A lot of good stuff happening back there, but you be safe on the water, and we'll see how NASCAR turns out today.
Yep, thanks a lot, Don.
All right, Jerry. Jerry Corcoran, Castaway Bass Club out of the Fort Worth area. So, good stuff. Okay, JK, light it up.
Well, we had this week in Washington, D.C., Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid from Nevada used what's called a procedural maneuver, and there was a bipartisan bill to expand hunting on public lands. And it was a bipartisan, which means everybody was in agreement with this thing. And Harry Reid decided that when there were a couple other amendments tacked on, that he would do what they call fill the amendment tree, and therefore they couldn't vote on it. So it was refused to be able to vote. Now, we know that we need, and when we have that kind of an issue, we want to have more opportunities on public lands than we do. And this is a perfect example of what we should have been able to do, and then we wind up having amendments tacked on. And I know one of the amendments that was a difficulty was that they had, there was some difficulties with gun amendments that were tacked onto this bipartisan bill. But on top of that, there were a whole raft of other ones. And this is what's the issue that we have in the Congress right now is that they don't take anything on a one-by-one basis anymore. No. If you've got one thing that you want that's really good and everybody agrees, they screw it up. And that's the issue.
Isn't there a term for that called pork fat?
No, pork fat's when you got some backyard stuff that you want to make sure is funded.
So what are we calling this?
We're calling this a cluster.
I get that. More on that when we come back.
But the thought of
somebody else rubbing her back
Just pleases me. All righty. Let's not go down that road. All right, back to Harry Reid. So I'm thinking Harry Reid did a bad thing. You're saying he didn't do such a bad thing?
No, what I'm saying is that when you have a bill going through the Senate and it has bipartisan support, other senators are starting to tack on amendments to the bill, which effectively are what we call the poison pill.
Yeah.
And so what happens then is that something that's good, that everybody agrees on, doesn't get enacted because nobody else can agree on the amendments, and the amendments are basically killing it. And then Harry Reid, as the ultimate source of power, since he's the majority leader, he said, no, we're not going to do anything then. And he was worried about some of the gun issues that were tacked on that would make Democratic candidates vulnerable on some of the gun law amendments that were tacked on. So it's a he said, she said right now going on in the Senate.
All right, so how do we get those stripped and get the bill back?
That's a real good question, because I don't know the answer
to
that.
You know, I posed that to McCain's office. I haven't heard back yet.
You will get your standard response in the mail within 3 days.
You know, he's been really good. He's actually ceased with the email responses, and I'm getting hard copies in the mail.
We need to pepper. I guess the biggest thing is that you see power bases within both, the House and the Senate. But you need to. Some of these people need to go because they're not making any sense in what they're doing.
They do. Yeah.
No longer effective.
No.
At all.
No, our legislative
they have their
branch
own
has
agenda.
been horrid.
Well, at the federal level, it's as bad as at the state level. In Dave's right about the legislature's not getting it. They don't get it on so many fronts. I don't know why in the hell they're there to begin with.
We have 32 states, if I think I'm correct with that, that have licensing requirements for driving your boat. 32.
When I posed that question, there were 2.
Yeah. So it's getting better. It's just that between us and California, nobody can, and because we share borders along the Colorado River.
Yeah, I don't really give a damn what California thinks one way or another, because
this office here does not care what California
exactly.
in any way, shape, or form.
But because we have a bordering state issue, we have to kind of commonly agree on things like that.
Either that or protect the border.
Sure, I know how to do that, and so do you.
and I'm going to leave it go at that.
Yeah,
let's roll.
We don't need to roll down that.
All right, so how do we get? This is a loaded question, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. How do we get your organization, the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, involved in creating the licensing effect? Can you?
We can help a little. We can put a dent in it. We have, and I'm not sure who it is right now. We have a state liaison officer that's appointed every year, and they work with Arizona Game and Fish or any other state entity that we need to be talking to. So we have a single representative that does that. As a group, we could tell.
And that's not Mike Johnson.
I don't think it is anymore, is it?
No.
It was. I'm not sure if Mike is still in that position or not.
Well, here's my.
But you got to have that driving force to get out there and really want to make a change.
You have to take it a step different. I know you guys are operating on an MOU.
Correct.
Right now there is so much fear from agency to agency over that MOU.
Oh yeah.
Being yanked or jerked or
We're having problems at Lake Pleasant right now.
Yeah. Why?
Because they're remodeling the station at Lake Pleasant.
What station?
The sheriff's station.
Oh, okay.
Up on the hill.
Okay.
We've been there. The Coast Guard Auxiliary has had a spot in that room, in that station, since it was built. And we have a little window with our radio so we can sit there and look out and look at the lake and talk to our boats and talk to the boating public and everything else. They're remodeling it. And so we've gone in there and said, okay, where's our new spot? What spot? Well, we've always had that spot. Can you prove that to me? What do you mean prove that to you? We've been here for 15 years or however long the station's been there.
Who's doing that?
What
is it rhyme
I'm
with?
not on the inside to know who's doing what to who, but I know they're doing it to us. So when our boats go out, now we have to have somebody sitting in a pickup truck with a radio and the AC going all day long to keep in contact with our boats, because we've technically been booted out of the sheriff's station, which is not just the sheriff's station, it's park service and everything else.
Which lake is this?
Pleasant.
Yeah.
So I know Mike Johnson is working on this.
I'm going to tell you, it rhymes with David Jordan.
Yeah. He's trying to find our old MOU that said we had a space there, but nobody can find the old MOU, and you know how those go. So that's an issue we're having at Lake Pleasant, but we don't have that.
Do you have a copy of it?
I do not.
Does somebody in your group have a copy?
Somebody somewhere has it in writing, but we got to find that person that has it and say, "Here, this is what it says. We're supposed to be here forever." Oh, okay. Now everything's cool. But until we can prove that, we're having some problems there. And of course, they're rebuilding the station. As of when they rebuilt the station at Saguaro Lake, they ask us, "What do you think we need here?" Well, we need this and this and this. Okay. And the sheriff worked with us, and bang, here we have it. We have our own radio room and window and our own door to come in and out of, our own keys and everything else.
Common sense does not prevail necessarily within government agencies.
That's across the
especially
board.
on the west side of the Maricopa County.
Yeah.
Yep.
And see, that's a whole different entity over there because of the way Lake Pleasant is run. Unfortunately.
There's too many.
Yeah.
What if you had a spout over on the Pleasant Harbor side? Would that work?
I don't know if it would or not, because we need the high point for our radio to reach the full lake.
They have a high point.
Yeah, then we'd have to get permission to tap into their high point radio antenna.
There's got to be a way to skin this cat.
Yeah, or even off the Scorpion Bay side.
My problem is, there's so much wrong out there. It almost seems like we need to engage in a full-fledged battle with Maricopa County Parks. Seems to be the.
I'm not sure where the confusion is. I know where we are. I don't know who's on the other side.
And I don't want to, offend them.
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And say, so and so's doing this to us, and they're not. So I don't have the full disclosure of everything.
I'll tell you what. Let's work on that Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm up north on Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Go out and visit with the game department. And
we need to work on this Aton thing too.
And then see if we can get an audience with David Jordan or somebody out at the sheriff's department.
Yeah, and Tonto.
The best thing to do, seriously.
Yeah,
guys.
I've met with
I'm
them
not
before.
even going to waste my time with Tonto because, quite frankly, I don't think they get it.
I'll tell you a story on the break about one of my dealings with them.
Guys, why don't you just go in, set up in the office, and have them try and remove you and say, okay, under whose authority are you removing us? That way you get to the culprit right away.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've got. I want to stay back on this sportsman's issue, John.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very important bill in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't really care about the gun legislation. That needs to be a standalone issue to begin with.
Correct.
And unfortunately, it's our side that put the gun amendment issues on. That was the Republican side that put those on. The Democrats are feared to death of it. But when you wind up doing that, and then some of the Democrats put on amendments, and then Harry Reid said, fine. He filled the amendment tree, and that's it. You shut it down. He was asking for a cloture vote, which required 60 votes, and I don't know what happened on Friday on that. I missed out on that.
The boat was overloaded.
Yeah, it's overloaded, that's for sure.
So what do we do now?
The only thing
there was a lot of good stuff in there, and one of them, I think the key issue that we're having here in Arizona is the buffalo. Am I supposed to call them bison or buffalo?
You can call them either or, but they're bison.
Buffalo.
Tatonka.
Yeah. On the Grand Canyon. Now I know the
Unit 48.
The department is moving families of 4 down to House Rock.
They're transporting them?
Yeah, they are.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how many they transported, but I'll forward you a video of our esteemed big game branch chief standing in a A herd of buffalo in the corral.
Brian?
Yeah.
Outstanding. Brian Wakeling, and with a herd of buffalo. I mean, all they had to do really seriously is tranquilize, 300 of them and move them out to House Rock and set up some barriers.
That's easier said than done.
I know that, but it can happen.
Yeah, so.
God,
anyway,
I love you, Jennifer.
Well, when we come back, we're going to switch gears and get the Rim Country fishing report from our buddy James Guggenauer from Rim Country Custom Rods. I'm Don McDowell here with
Captain Dave.
Special K.
You're very moderate today.
Moderate, yeah.
Moderator.
I
Reason.
don't remember loving you. You might talk to my
Thinks
doctor.
I'm sick today, he won't have me to harass. Cause I'm out here on the river,
And he can kiss my big old bass.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. James, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Don. How you doing, sir?
I've been on a rant since I got here. I think it was a direct result of a Dunkin' Donuts maple bar and excess sugar.
I was going to ask if you put a little bit of Monster Energy drink in your coffee this morning.
I don't know what Dunkin' puts in their coffee, but I'll tell you what.
He's juiced today.
I think he was dipping.
Yeah, buddy. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing well. A wonderful time up here. Yesterday, we had a good event at one of the tire dealerships here, and it's Dick Seebeck Tires and Wheels is a sponsor at Clifford Perch, and they held a grand opening. And all you have to do is offer free hot dogs and hamburgers and pace, and we had over 400 people show up.
Nice.
That is almost 1/2 of the population of Payson.
That is.
But let me tell you a little story before I get into the picture report. So here's Clifford standing on his boat with a flipping jig, and this guy runs over and puts a little red Dixie cup on the parking lot and says, "Clifford, I'll give you $20 if you can cast that thing into this cup." And before he finished the sentence, the jig goes in the cup.
Oh.
A hole in one.
The whole audience it just erupted. You couldn't ask for anything better. It almost hit the guy in the head as it went by, as it fell into the cup.
Would have served him right.
That was a photo op.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want that 20 out now.
Hey, for fishing at Roosevelt, that super moon last night was just beautiful. A lot of good tournaments are going on this week. The cloud cover's kind of keeping the temperature down, so we're telling everybody this is the week to do some nighttime fishing up at Roosevelt. The monsoons that we've been getting, it's been raining at night, but we haven't been getting the hard winds or big waves blowing with it. So you always need to check the weather report, but this would be a good week to come up. Summertime bass pattern is what anglers are reporting. A very good bite early in the morning, but even a better bite is at sunset until about midnight. The lake's still at 42% full, and I just checked this morning. The Salt River dropped back down. It's flowing at about 80% of its normal rate, which is just under 200 cubic feet per second.
What did you say Roosevelt was?
42.
Okay.
Yeah, 42% full, and that's the same as what it was last week. And there was a good blip in the Salt River flow due to the monsoons, but now we're starting to drop back down to the 80%, or 80% of its normal flow. So a couple of things that were reported is Good Techniques was a Texas rig, just a standard 3/4 ounce jig were both reported successful, but also a drop shot and a Carolina rig. One angler told me on Friday he caught a 9-pound largemouth on a 10-inch black curly tail worm right off of Bass Point.
Did it have blue flecks?
You didn't tell me that.
Okay.
The devil in the details.
Yeah, I know you're big on that. But, 3 areas that I heard reported this week was off of Goose Flat, Connor's Ledge, and Bass Point. And a lot of tournament anglers, they like that Bass Point area because there's some nice drop-offs there. and goes from about 15 feet down to 35 feet, and that's just a prime area for guys to be fishing in this time of year. So it's a good time to be on Roosevelt. The crappie bite stayed pretty steady last week, and as I tell everyone, nighttime is the time to go crappie fishing up here, especially with the full moon we've been having. Vertical jigging techniques, light power rod with a 4-pound test line is what guys are using, and always looking for brush. The crappie schools, whether it's night or whether it's day, they're going to be around some kind of structure, either the marina or some brush in the back of Sally Mae Cove. Those would be areas that you'd probably want to check out if you were coming up this week to go fish. And the full moon just makes it all the better to be out there. And the final note for this week is the monsoons. Please, I tell everybody every year because I keep hearing stories about guys getting surprised on the water. Check the water, check the weather before you get on the water, and make sure the monsoons are not going to get you.
Well, last week up at Pleasant, there was, it was on July the 3rd, there was 2 storms collided. Rumor has it 14 boats sunk.
That was, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you guys up there?
Oh, we had a group up there. We weren't. We were at Saguaro, but it got pretty bouncy at Saguaro too when it came by our way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you read those stories, Don, it's the same. It seems like after every one of those storms, everybody starts to hightail it for the ram, and when they get there, everybody's tied up to the dock, and nobody can get there, and boats are sinking, and
sure.
One of the anglers up here down in Tonto Basin told me a long time ago that the time to plan for bad weather is before the storm hits.
Absolutely.
Yep.
When you're on Roosevelt, you should always know that if you got stuck in a storm, where would you go right now to safe harbor?
Well, the launch ramp's the last place you want to go.
Absolutely. Right.
In my mind, I've had to tie up a number of times. Once a long time ago up on Elephant Butte. 2 times on Saguaro Lake and once up on Havasu.
Yep.
Just, ride it out.
Ride it out.
When in doubt, ride it out.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Way to do it.
And then the other problem is a lot of these boats don't have a radio, not even to get the basic weather forecast to say, hey, something's coming. That's on every marine radio.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Okay. What else are we missing?
Hey, I'll tell you what you're missing is, I don't know what it is about this time of year, but the elk start moving around during the day. And,
big game.
Hey, yesterday I drove down to the end of the street, and I'm looking at these elk up on this ridge, and I'm looking through the binoculars, and there's nothing but cows and calves going by. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really strange that there's not one bull up there with that group. And I don't know, after so many minutes, I put the binoculars down, and I am not joking with you. 20 yards in front of the truck, right on the road, are 5 bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bats, they were still in velvet, weren't they, Jim?
Still in velvet. Beautiful looking, yes.
Yeah, they've got about 3 more weeks will they be in velvet. They're at the end of their growing period. They should start rubbing them off right around between the 10th and the 15th of August, and then look out.
Right.
Fair game.
I was telling Dennis yesterday that this is why I'm not a big hunter. Here I am looking at the elk that are half a mile away, and I can't see the ones that are 20 yards in front of me.
Yeah. You know what? I've had that happen many times, glassing a hillside and had them pop up right below me. Instead of a mile and a half away, there they are at 50 yards away.
Oops.
It just happens that way. And those bulls are still in their bachelor bull group, so they're going to stay that way for another 3-4 weeks.
They're still just hanging and bonding.
Yes.
They're not bonding, they're just growing.
Growing, yeah.
Attitude comes within 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. So the herd that we have up here in the Payson area, this is West Payson, the bulls, there were 5 of them standing there. 4 of them were spikes that were about 3 foot long antlers, and one is a 5x5.
Woo. Big daddy.
Yeah, nice looking bull.
You know what, Jim? The sad fact is that Payson, Unit 22 at one time, particularly 22 North, was one of the finest areas. It was like the secret area of the state because it was relatively close to the Phoenix marketplace and you could get in there. But, you know, Henry, over the past 5 years, has tried to bring the what he calls the balance back that the state is requiring in terms of cow to bull and bull to cow ratios. And unfortunately, they whacked a lot of them. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of spikes. You know, we figured that out, you know, in the last 3 years, but they still put in those 800 tags over the last 2 weeks of November, December. So it's hurtful, but, you know, we'll get back to them sooner or later.
They grow.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. Always will.
All right, James, we're going to wish you a good week, and, you know, we'll probably see you up there maybe Wednesday, Thursday. I've got some running to do. I want to stop by and visit with the guys up at Chasing a Dream Outfitters and Rim Country Custom Rods. You know those guys?
I do.
Yeah.
And they're looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. James Guggenauer, check him out at rimcountrycustomrods.com. We're going to step down. Thanks to more of our sponsors, and thank JK and Captain Dave for hanging out and partaking of the Duncan Maple Bar.
Ooh, it was great.
We'll be back.
Makes me puke.
Oh, no.
Thanks,
all right,
James.
hey, I want to thank everybody for listening and joining us today. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of good information out there. JK, you want anything you want to add to the torpedoing of the Sportsman's Act?
You know, the sad fact of the matter is that we as individuals, all we have to do is pick up the phone and make a call and say, look, knock it off. Stop this right now.
Quit it.
Knock it off. You have bipartisan support for a bill. Pass the damn bill. Do not tack on amendments. Do not get into the quote-unquote politics. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Knock it off.
Okay, I guess what we need to do is put the contact phone numbers up on the SRT website.
And we're going to do that. We really should. And what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to look into whose amendments were tacked on, what they were, and we can call those people and say, you know what? You screwed up a good thing and you're a Republican, or you screwed up a good thing and you're a Democrat. And we're going to point fingers. That's the only thing we can do.
Where's Donald Trump when you need him?
Well,
You're fired.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Big Game Forever, and they stated very clearly, if you flood any politician's office with 600 calls, 600 people to make a call in one day, you will get their attention. I mean, it's dramatic. But we have to line up 600 people who are willing to do that.
Well, you know, the hunting and angling community, the hunters more so than the anglers, we're good at raising money. I don't know that we're good at defending what we've built. And
we're not good at protecting what we've built.
Yeah, exactly.
You were at the meeting Wednesday when we, you know, the Arizona Big Game Super Raffle, you know, told the department, we're going to give you a check this week for $511,000 for the raffle that we did.
Yeah.
Now, that's a chunk of change.
It is.
That, you know, I mean, it's in relationship to their annual budget. Okay, it's, you know, 0.5%, but it doesn't matter. It's $500,000 here.
That's money that's going on the ground.
Absolutely. That's going into HPC projects. And by the way, for anybody who thinks that they have an idea on what should be done as a project in the wilderness, in anywhere outside of the city, September 1st or September 2nd is the deadline for submissions for the HPC process of any projects that they want to have funded. And you know who the biggest issue is that we have on those things? Federal government. NEPA.
Oh, yeah.
NEPA is the biggest one, and then Archie Studies is the second one.
I'm getting mad as hell every time I hear NEPA and EIS. And
Oh, but we did have a small win, and that is that the Mexican garter snake and the narrow-nosed garter snake were not declared endangered. Threatened, yes. Endangered, no. But it's going to happen.
They're a snake. You don't have eyebrows or shoulders. You are threatened.
Well, right now, the status that we have on those is, and quite frankly, we don't have flowing rivers anymore.
No.
With all the impoundments that we have, it's not possible to have the flowing river structure that we had 100 years ago. It's not going to happen. Yes, something's going to disappear, but maybe something's going to come back that we're not even thinking about.
Feral hogs.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's another issue.
There was a movie years ago, and I can't recall the name of it, but it was the guy's screaming out the window of his apartment, "I'm mad as hell,
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
that
not
guy-
going to take it anymore." And that's where we should be.
Newscaster. There's a newscaster who.
Yeah, but then everybody joined in on him and chimed in, and it was just a basic saying.
Well,
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
I sit here mad as hell every Sunday for the last 14 years. We have wins, but they're overshadowed with just tsunamis of crap coming out of the. I'm going to call it the White House.
And it's not going to change until you.
I don't know how to get the anglers involved in conservation. The youth groups, the youth on the hunting side is a lot better than the youth on the fishing side. It's our future.
Sure.
And conservation bonus point.
The conservation bonus point is one way, but the guys that are out there right now, we need tournament anglers showing up at meetings.
Yeah.
In force, not once in a while, every time. That being said, James has done a great job with the Gila County Roundtable Anglers meeting on Roosevelt.
Oh, he's
protecting
He has done a remarkable job, and I have to hand it to him. When he makes a presentation, people listen. You know why? Because he knows his facts, he's organized, he's detailed, and he's thorough.
He's been educated.
Yeah. It's not. That's not Billy Joe going up to the mic, grabbing, going, "You ain't gonna believe this stuff."
No, there's he's got a lot of backing. Let's say.
Well, he should.
And I think we're at an apex right now that we've got to let these politicians know that your behavior and your job performance is unacceptable.
Thank you.
You're fired,
or we'll help get you fired.
Well, McCain needs to go. And these long-term guys, they've done their job.
When you're in a position for as many years as Senator McCain has, or any politician, you have a sense of entitlement that's not there.
And complacency.
Sure.
We tell people in our, you're certified in different areas to do things with the auxiliary or even the regular Coast Guard. And sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, you know what? It's time that I don't do this anymore because I'm not capable of doing it properly.
Or go back and get re-educated.
Yes.
I'm serious about going to the boating safety class. It's been 3 years since I've been to one.
You're due.
I can't answer all the questions because I forgot. Ever happened to you? Happened to me.
That doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, it will. No, your whiskers are the white
And all
collar.
three of you will be in our next class on July 9th.
Okay.
Or August 9th.
I'll sign up.
August 9th.
Say July 9th. I'm all in.
We'll be there.
That was last week.
But it is an issue. We've got to get these people educated, and even some basic knowledge is going to help because the average boater does, even when you talk to people, come to a boating class. Well, you can't teach me anything. I've been boating for 30 years, 40 years.
I've heard myself.
And then they come to the class and go, you know what?
I didn't know that.
I was wrong. Thank you for getting me in the class.
Yeah.
Every time. So it's there.
How do people sign up for your class?
The classes, you can sign up by going to cgox.org. AUX.org, and then type in boating class. It'll give you a list of all the classes for this area. Our class is taught the second Saturday of every month at Marine Max. You can sign up for the class at Marine Max. You can also sign up for the classes through Arizona Game and Fish. They're advertised in this
Arizona Boat and Water Sports Western Outdoor Times
by Jim Allen, and those papers are in every sporting goods store in the area. So it's not rocket science to sign up for the class at all.
There's a new program on one of the cable channels up on DirecTV. It's the 285 or something. The Science of Stupid.
Yeah,
I think that was filmed here in Arizona.
When I talk to people on the lake, I try to tell them it's an educational exchange. And every time I stop somebody and talk to them, they always say, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry,"
and then turn around and do it again.
Yeah. Or now June was on a different boat last weekend, and she talked to somebody, and he goes, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate it very much. And she goes, thank you for saying thank you. But most people just say, I'm sorry. And it's like, why are you sorry? Don't be sorry. Listen to what I'm telling you and get
sorry
educated.
because you're a moron.
I can't say that, but
I can.
You can think it.
You can think
Well,
it.
I suggested to Kevin Bergeson before he retired that one of the things we could do is to help the enforcement on the lake is 3 paintballs on your boat.
Yeah.
Within a 30-day period, you have to sit down for 60 days. You can't use your boat.
Yeah. And each paintball is $100.
Poof, poof, poof.
So if it's nailed down the whole side, it's like, you're out of here.
The only thing that saves me is 80-mile-an-hour bass boats are hard to hit.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
A lot of lead time with a paint gun.
Don't push your luck.
I'm not pushing my luck, and there's just too many people out there to run the way we used to.
Yeah.
So you have to temper yourself.
I know we all hate rules and regulations, but sometimes we need them to be safe.
Yeah.
Basic things.
Anything to add for the upcoming weeks?
No, I mean
chemtrails.
Yeah, well, chemtrails we'll chat about, but we're getting near that time now where when the velvet's off, Johnny's gone. I'll be up in the mountains probably every weekend. My son comes in for September the 12th. We've got one guy I'm going to help on an archery tag early starting September 12th. And then my son's coming in the 15th, and we're going to be up there. So
nice.
Archery bull tag early season when they're screaming, nothing better.
Ooh.
Johnny will be in the woods.
Any final words on behalf of you, Captain Dave?
No, just be safe on the water. Try to get into a boating class. If you have any questions, just contact one of us on any of your local lakes. We're out there.
Okay. We'll post all that up on the SRT ShakeRattleTroll.com website so you can have it at your fingertips. Call your senators and your congressmen and complain.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, guys. Hope you have a good weekend. Stay cool. I'm Don McDowell.
Special K.
Captain Dave with the Coast Guard Auxiliary.
Yes, Jennifer, good job today. Take your kids fishing, hug your bass boat. Man, we're out of here.